in the hospital when they sat you down to talk about organ donation.
Yeah.
What was their approach to that conversation?
The approach was they said to us that they don't think there's any chance of Richie making a recovery. They said they've exhausted all options and enough. We've been at it for 3 weeks now. They've tried everything, and have you considered organ donation? That was basically the conversation, and we instantly were like, yes, we have. Let's go. But we were ready, and because my sister and I and my mum had spoken about it a few days earlier, because of Zadie's beautiful picture out the front of the ICU there. That's when we started having the conversation, remembering that actually Richie wanted to do this, and we talked about it with a few of his friends that had come across, and one of his friends, Enid, was who came across. We just remember having that conversation, saying, yeah, he would want this. So the hospital's tact was, okay, if you want to do this, we're going to put you in contact with, there was a liaison officer, a nurse who worked for Donate, or the Transplant team, who was the person that did things on our end, and there was a lot of forms to fill out and all that. But there wasn't a lot of having to, I can imagine if it was a family that you had no idea what the conversation was about, if you weren't expecting it, it could have been quite confronting. But for us, they didn't have to try to twist our arms, probably not the right word, but I think in some cases it would be, if you're a doctor, knowing that you've got perfectly healthy, viable organs ready to just be thrown away, basically, you would need, if your family say no initially, then you're going to have to kind of say, well, have you thought about it? Whereas luckily with us, it was like, yeah, where do we sign? Let's go. So for us, the hospital were great. They were the doctors were great, but the nurse, who I can't remember her name, to be honest, which is a shame. I'm surprised I don't, but just wonderful, really supportive. My mum, and just telling us and just telling us how they take care of, when he goes into surgery, that he's like any other patient. They're treated with the same dignity and respect as if he was still alive. And by the time it came, we were ready for the conversation. So they were really tactful, really good about it. But we didn't have to be convinced. So I'm glad about that.
Yeah. And was he registered on the register as well? Did they mention that? Yeah.
He was registered, but they said, I think it's still the situation to this day, you still need to get explicit permission from the family. So that's where a lot of registered donors still don't get the opportunity to donate, because the family's too confronting. Well, no, how dare you ask that question? Just lost such and such. So no, thankfully for us, and it was not a problem at all.
And it's without people like you, family like yours, and people like your brother, mate, we wouldn't be having this conversation. I wouldn't be here. It's as simple as that. So again, I can't thank you enough.
No problem.